So if you're Orthodox or just Christian in the UK, you may have heard about the influx of interest in Orthodoxy in Western countries. Or if you are Orthodox, you may have experienced it yourself, new catechumens coming in and new conversions. We often hear about this phenomenon going on in the United States and in other countries, but I haven't actually seen a video that specifically focuses on the UK and the growth of Orthodoxy in this country, as well as the history of Orthodoxy here post-schism. So I thought I'd gather all the data and history myself and put it into a single video. There's not actually loads available, but I think what is accessible online does give a realistic picture of what is actually happening. So this video will be explaining the history of Orthodoxy since the Great Schism, leading up to the more recent phenomenon since COVID of native Brits converting to Orthodoxy.
So the first Orthodox Christian presence in England after the Great Schism was a small Greek Orthodox chapel in Soho Square, London. It was founded in 1677 by a group of Greek merchants and clergy with the support of the Catholic Earl of Castlemaine. It was serving the city's tiny Greek community, but it very quickly faced suspicion in Protestant England, partly due to its Catholic similarities. Under mounting pressure and lacking stability, the chapel closed 5 years later in 1682. After the closure of the Soho Chapel, there was no Orthodox presence in London until 1716. This is when a chapel was established within the Russian embassy, which was primarily used by the Russian diplomats and a very small number of Russian immigrants. Though initially it was limited to the embassy circles, over the 18th and 19th centuries into the first permanent Orthodox community in Britain. This was providing continuity and paving the way for a wider Orthodox presence that followed. In the 19th century, Greek immigration to Britain started to increase, driven by regional wars in Greece and opportunities created in Britain by the Industrial Revolution. In 1861, Greeks in Manchester established a church to serve their growing community, and by 1879, the Greek Orthodox Church of St. Sophia in London started construction. Again, this is marking another major milestone in the consolidation of Orthodoxy in Britain. So the community surrounding the Russian embassy chapel and the communities stemming from the Greek immigration to the UK from the late 1800s, these are really the historical foundations for two of the main major Orthodox presences in modern Britain today. And the first of these three is the Archdiocese of Thyatira in Great Britain. After World War I, and especially following the Greco-Turkish War and the Asia Minor catastrophe, Greek populations were displaced across Europe. In 1922, the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople established the Holy Metropolis of Thyatira in Great Britain, headquartered in London. The name Thyatira refers to the ancient See of Thyatira in modern-day Turkey, one of the 7 churches of Asia Minor mentioned in Revelation. By assigning this title, Constantinople was both preserving an ancient diocese lost to Islam and creating a new structure for the diaspora in the UK and Western Europe. And it's under this archdiocese in which the modern Greek Orthodox presence in the UK is handled. The community stemming from the old Russian embassy chapel consolidated in the Diocese of Soros in 1962. The Moscow Patriarchate officially created the Diocese of Soros, covering Britain and Ireland. The name Soros comes from the old Byzantine name for Sudak in Crimea, symbolising continuity with Russian Orthodoxy's ancient roots. Its first bishop was Metropolitan Anthony Bloom, a former medical doctor and soldier who became a monk and priest after World War II. And it's along with this diocese, along with Rokor, the Russian Orthodox Church outside of Russia, of which the Russian Orthodox population in Britain is handled and managed. The third is the Romanian Archdiocese of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Unlike the previously mentioned, Romanian Orthodoxy is very new to the UK, the first parish being set up in the 1960s. Despite this, Romanian Orthodoxy is now the UK's fastest growing Orthodox presence. Built by post-2000 migration, it moved from scattered chaplaincies to a full Archdiocese of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in 2024, counting 63 parishes and missions and 3 monasteries across Great Britain. Many parishes worship in rented Anglican churches while new communities keep opening and acquiring permanent buildings. In May 2025, Bishop Atanasi was enthroned as the first Archbishop of London, consolidating clergy formation, Romanian schools, and English language outreach that now serves both the diaspora as well as the growing number of local seekers. Alongside the big Greek, Russian and Romanian presences, there are also a number of smaller Orthodox communities that have taken root in the UK. The Serbian and Bulgarian churches built parishes after the waves of migration in the 20th century, while the Antiochian church gathered Middle Eastern Orthodox faithful, and now attracts a good number of local converts too. Georgians, Poles and other national groups have also set up smaller parishes, often borrowing space from Anglican or Catholic churches. Though individually small, together these communities add to the picture of Orthodoxy in Britain as a whole. So generally speaking, in the UK, Christianity is on the decline. That being said, there are a few groups of Christian denominations/churches that are growing. The main bulk of that is Pentecostal and Evangelical churches, particularly ones that are heavily populated with migrants. Just the top one is the Redeemed Christian Church of God, which is an African Pentecostal church, mainly built up by West African immigrants to the UK. And it looks like pretty much everything on the top 10 list is as a result of immigration. That being said, both the Romanian Orthodox Church and the Russian Orthodox Church are in the top 10, Romanian being the 5th on the list and the Russian Orthodox Church being the 7th fastest growing on the list.
So the main takeaway from this is that the vast majority of the growth of Orthodoxy in the UK is predominantly and almost entirely based upon immigration from Orthodox countries to the UK. The biggest amount of difference done by this is from Romania, where between 2001 and 2019, almost 400,000 Romanians came to the UK and settled here.
So that's the picture when it comes to Orthodox migration into the UK. Now let's look at some of the significant conversion events that have happened here. The first of which was the 1995 pilgrimage to Orthodoxy, which was the Antiochian Church's reception of whole Anglican groups into Orthodoxy, establishing the Antiochian Orthodox Deanery in March 1995 under Patriarch Ignatius IV. After a 1994 meeting in Paris, ordinations and receptions began in 1995, many on Palm Sunday, with worship spaces secured in several temples consecrated in 1996. Over a dozen English-speaking communities emerged, led by newly ordained former Anglican clergy. This event normalised group receptions and laid the foreground for English-speaking Orthodox mission in the UK. That landmark moment in 1995 showed that whole groups of English Christians could make the leap together into Orthodoxy, setting a precedent for future conversions. And nearly 30 years later, we're seeing echoes of that same story, most recently with a whole community in Halifax stepping forward in 2025. An entire evangelical congregation in Halifax is entering the Orthodox Church in 2025 under the Antiochian Archdiocese. Most members are now already catechumens, including Pastor Douglas Clark, and the community is being received as the St. Hilda of Whitby Orthodox mission, with the blessing of Metropolitan Siloam. Receptions were scheduled for September of this year with a possible diaconal ordination, and it seems that 2025 in particular is having a boost in converts. On Lazarus Saturday, the 12th of April 2025, the 12 Apostles Greek Orthodox Church in Hatfield hosted one of the UK's largest ever reception services, receiving nearly 200 people. Archbishop Nikitas presided, assisted by clergy from across the Archdiocese of Thyatira. Adults and children entered the church by holy baptism and chrismation, most of which had completed Season 8 of Discover Orthodoxy course, a weekly Zoom catechesis class from September 2024 to May 2025. The cohort spanned UK natives and a wide diaspora, highlighting post-2019 momentum and the impact of structured, centralised catechesis. And the momentum doesn't stop there. In September 2025, over 600 people logged into the opening session of the 9th Discover Orthodoxy online catechesis class. This is an unprecedented turnout for the programme. The course meets weekly on Zoom and is open to inquirers and catechumens across the UK. This single intake showcases how post-2019 interest is translating into structured, large-scale catechesis and a growing, reliable pipeline of converts.
In this year, not only is there an upward drive in baptisms, there is also a specific jump in 2025. And it doesn't look like it's slowing down either, if we consider the 600 joining the catechesis class this year. If we continue in this pace, it looks like it's safe to say that Orthodoxy is here to stay in the UK and that it is growing. I'm thinking of doing an annual update to this, or if there's any new developments or big announcements in regarding to this kind of data, I'll update this video with a second version. So yeah, keep an eye out. Thanks for watching.